Greetings everyone, this is again Lodrick, and today we talk again about our game War in the Pacific Admirals Edition in our battle against Dojo. It is still January 8th, 1942. Last time we talked about the industry and the R&D. What is a little special for the Japanese side, but we roughly talked about the way most Japanese players will train their pilots at the beginning or throughout all the war. That you have this bases in the home islands or Manchukuo where you keep your young pilots fresh from the flight school, that they enter these task forces to learn better skills, like this one. Again, one elite pilot you can see is red. He is more or less locked in this unit, but the rest is growing stronger and stronger. Normally you can extract this guy's already and send to the backup pool. But here you can see 30, this is the fresh new greenhorns. Anyway, about this we talked about already, and that we can resize units if they are carrier capable. Yeah, what we not talked about last time is the possibility to attach the unit to Air Force command. This is also for carrier-based units. Best is I show you this here. This is a carrier with his arm, with his air wing. You can call it an air wing. And then you can see it was locked, or it was attached to some air command. But in the moment you send it to a ship, at least to a carrier, because I never use this air transportation ships so far, it will be independent. And independent means more or less, yeah, it has no high command, it's not attached. After you regroup this unit to 30 planes, I will fly it back to Tokyo, then it's still independent. Maybe I have still one guy is independent, but I don't think so. But because then I can show you. No, they're all already locked. But you can touch this if it's yellow, and it's always there's some interface behind this. You can always choose something. There's an option. White is only information. Yellow is always some interaction. So normally it is independent. Then you can touch this. And then you can attach this to 11th Air Force. You can see if this is now attached to 11th Air Force. If I want changes to the 12th Air Force, I have to pay points for this. Like Army unit, if you buy them out. The same with Air Force. But if the unit is independent, then it's free of charge. Means more or less you can always attach an independent unit to air command. And why you want to do this? Because if the unit is attached to the air command and the air command is in range, means like most of the air commands like this one have a range of 1, means in the same hex or in the hex next to it. The leader skill, inspiration, and the administration skill, all these skills have an impact of this unit. I think it was leadership and the administration skill are the ones go in the calculation. If a pilot, if he go training or if he go on a mission, he get a skill bonus. Means he get an upgrade. I mean, he gets additional skill points. So that this unit level up. You can see this is the the points, the skill points, like in other games. More skill points are normally always better. If you have later a dogfight, or if the unit won't do a mission, then it's always some calculation stuff. And the main calculation is what is the basic values of the airplane, how tired is the pilot, and his skill points. And out of this, the game will make a calculation: if successful, how successful, or in a dogfight, you can evade the attack, or you can land a hit, and all of this stuff. So skill points, I mean, pilots with better skills are always operating better. I mean, this is, I think, basic knowledge. So, and out of, if we know all of this and put it together, then we can say, after we change the group size and send the unit back to the airport, we will always attach an independent unit again, normally to the air command. If we later want to change something again, then it's also no problem. We can simply send this unit back to a carrier, then it gets independent again, and everything is smooth. So normally Navy carrier how they always say this, carrier, I always forget this, carrier capable airplanes you can get more or less free of charge and then attach them again. Maybe it's a little gamey, but I mean, if you are the Japanese player, you already have so many disadvantages, so why not? Yeah, but I will do it, because with Japan you really have a tough time. And maybe not at the beginning, maybe now it looks so easy going, but let's wait up to June of 42. If Dojo have all his fine battleships equipped with top of the arts radar, and if he gets the next generation of fighter airplanes and dive bombers, then we are totally equal. Then we must really fight to survive. And return in 43, and he can get the next generation of radar. This will be end like the reality, maybe. But we try our best, and we never give up. We're Japanese. We have honor, and we fight for the emperor up, and we die for the emperor. Don't forget this. The most honorful death for a Japanese soldier is to die for the emperor on the battlefield. So I think this is first enough about pilots. What I can now explain roughly is normally the situation. So I create more or less here an Air Force base. This is more, also I built this up normally. I built up this port and this airfield to have here a strong base. I have here the 12th Air Fleet. So I also skip a little around at the beginning, because at the beginning the original setup of many stuff is mixed up, and stuff is in south of Japan but normally belongs to the center, and HQs are not really with a efficient way set up. So you need 1 or 2 weeks normally to bring everything in position to say, okay, and now it's nice and tidy, it makes sense. Don't forget the Japanese have a way to think. So maybe in their way there's a logic behind. But if you're a Western guy, and especially if you're a German engineer, you try to trim everything for efficiency and to make a structure very clear. Germans like this. Anyway, so here's the 12th Air Flotilla and the 5th Navy. This is a Navy HQ. The Navy support. The Navy support is more or less a booster for the harbor. There are some rules, like the harbor itself have some loading and unloading points based on the size of the port. But additional naval support can boost this. So it means you can rearm unload and load ships faster. So, and because this is my main harbor here in the north, to collect all the resources from the northern part and ship here to them and then unload them, it makes sense. You can choose also other harbor, maybe. I mean, here you can also build a harbor, but this one, here's a harbor already big and still can go bigger, up to 9 if you want. You can see 6 plus 3, always 3 over the original number. So, and the airport is a maximum 7, so you can create here an easy a 9 or a 10 airport. I don't will go so crazy, maybe 7 is enough, because like I said before, as a Japanese you don't have really 4 engine airplanes. Most of your stuff is single or double engine, and so a 7 airport is normally enough to let them operate with maximum efficiency. And yeah, maybe later you will come in crazy numbers. So far this airport can handle 150 airplanes. But here you can see it's only 53. So we have plenty of capacity left. And why the number is so strange? Why is only one group here? I don't really fully understand sometimes the setup. Why only one group? 53 airplanes? I mean, you can also see there are much more airplanes. This has something to do with, I think, if it's like this seaplane or float plane, then it counts not like a plane, because this is based on the water, but normally it makes no sense because they're only starting from the water. They're not based on the water. You carry them still back to the, on the hangar and maintenance them. So I don't exactly why the game sometimes calculates stuff like this, but maybe the game say only land-based units are real airplanes. This is sometimes a little confusing. And also, this is the game missing. Normally, it will be nice if you have some in-game information. If I touch on this and then I touch this and then they tell me what is a group. And then maybe he also tell me what from which units are this 53. So I can see this here all, but how I will, I mean, for me, how I can get 53 airplanes now here together. Maybe the 35 plus 24 plus what? I don't know, because they are all land-based. So I don't know. Anyway, keep in mind, I mean, this is really, keep this in mind. Don't extend this. Have less groups than the maximum number. Don't have more airplanes than the maximum number. Always keep this wide. If it's getting red, then you have an issue, because it's reduce the efficiency of the airport. You will have more accidents, more operational losses, all this stuff. And it can also be, if you want to operate with overloaded airport, that the mission you plan will be cancelled. Because there's always, every mission you will start, there's always a ready check, or how you want to call it, a successful check. The game will check if the mission is successful. If the weather is bad, then it will always cancel normally. But even if the weather is okay, there is a possibility that the pilots or the airport or the tower control say, sorry, we cannot start enough, all these airplanes. Your mission is skipped. So keep this in mind. Okay. So here in the north, this is my 12th Army Headquarter. Tokyo is for more or less for the center of Japan, 11th Air Command, and here is also the Eastern Army Command. This gives only support, not naval support, but it have radius of 5, and it gives also some to the units some booster if they want to get experience. So all of my units, I let them always rest and train, so that they more easy get all their stuff ready, because a lot of the stuff at the beginning is not really 100% ready, and maybe also get some experience and morale boost over time. And so normally I do this, because to buy out the unit, it doesn't matter if it's damaged or not damage. This will not change normally by points. It's only gets cheaper if the stuff is destroyed. So I will not have replacement and upgrades activated, because all these units are normally, I mean, some units you can transport out at the beginning. This I did already. Everything what was free to transport out I did already. I sent it to Philippines or Malaysia or somewhere else. But what is now left in Japan is always locked to Eastern Army, North Army, Center Army or South Army. They're all restricted. So if I want to buy this unit out, I have to pay 759 points out of my roughly 1,700. So but I will not do this because this is okay unit but nothing special. This is more or less only a support army or unit. This is not a really strong fighting forces. So about this is I think so you must set up something. Everyone can do his own stuff. Here is my, this is a central army command, also radius 5, and here are some fighting forces. Cure, I set up more or less like my main army port. So all battleships, destroyers, everything won't go to the shipyard and destroy. Normally I bring it to this port. Cure, because Kure is normally also in reality the main navy port of Japan. So I think also the Yamato battleships coming here, at least one of them. But you can normally set up what you want here. I only show you why. Here's a shipyard of 100. So this is I think similar to San Francisco and the west coast of America. These are the biggest shipyards possible. So, but keep in mind the Yamato is 64,000 or 65,000 already. So one Yamato battleship already take a bunch of this shipyard. So luckily we have also I think Osaka. No, Osaka's only 25. But here is Kobe, the old capital of Japan. There's also a big navy yard. Tokyo itself has nearly nothing because there's normally only a big fish harbor. So it means a lot of fish you catch here in the bay of Tokyo, and then you carry it normally to Tokyo to feed the people. But there's no real navy equipment. The navy equipment is here in Yokohama. It's nearby, it's not far away. I was there also before. I stayed nearly 1 year in Japan, and I travel a lot in this area, and I had a project here near the coast. Anyway, so this are my main hubs here. North for Japan, normally later. So far I'm all in training because I don't expect that the Americans will normally be active before of June, July 42. So I take the time and go training. I try to train what is possible. And later, if everything is, my pilots are top, then I will switch them and also maybe send to some smaller positions like this. Here I can maybe add a scout plane and submarine hunters airplane force to keep this area free of submarines, because maybe he won't try to sneak here in and then come here the sea of Japan. But first we damaged or sunk a lot of his submarines in the Philippines, at least I hope so. And secondly, we know that the torpedo Mark 14 is normally first in 43 really a threat, before they have a solo success chance to explode. Even if they hit, they only bunch off. So again, 12th Army Command, 11th. This is a Navy headquarter, and here is more or less the 1st Army Division. This is more or less the number 1 Army Air Force headquarter in all of Japan. You can see the range is a little higher, it's 4. I don't know why it's not 5, normally I thought it must be 5, because I think it's only 1, 5 and 9, but maybe it's some Air Force stuff, so it's only 4. Anyway, and this is for the source area. I mean, keep in mind that the map is a little out of position. So this is source and there's Shanghai. So normally this airport is responsible to keep this area, maybe all of this area, free of submarines and any surface radar task forces. But I mean, if we come with anything what is surface so close to Japan, it must be crazy, or we lost already the game. Anyway, so but normally this air base will cover this area. Tokyo is normally only responsible to scout here if he try to do something like a dual raid, and the north base is responsible to close this area, so that this sea is normally free. Not that we really need this sea. I mean, maybe you can operate here a lot of stuff. I do nearly nothing. I have also very, very small number of cargo operation. I keep it simple and keep most of the stuff in backup line. Like I have here something is operated like this. This brings we get here some resources, and sometimes you can also fill it up with oil or fuel, because this is here you drill some oil, and here you get resources. Manpower you must transport, because manpower is it go directly to the pool. So, but we have light industry. This means this will create supplies and resources. This light industry consumes some resources, but it cannot consume all of this, so it will stockpile. Normally this gets a lot, but now it's only 22,000, because I give this base the command to collect all available resources. So these resources will transport by rail to this harbor, because this is a bigger harbor. Here you can see the port is 4. This is normally enough. It's also safe for anti-submarine. I think port 3 is will lock down or lock out any submarine attack. If the port is small, only 1 or 2, you don't have anti-submarine protection. So a submarine can sneak in, but at port 3, but latest at port 4, have something like a torpedo net. So, and a submarine net. So it's nearly impossible to sneak in. So, because maybe he will come here with submarines, because submarines are always hard to find, and then he come here and say, okay, I know that you're here. I try to sneak inside the port, because there is of course the most to sunk, but maybe he will stay here and wait in the deep water. Also, I normally avoid shallow water with submarines, because it's limited possibility for the submarine to raid. Deep water is for a submarine much more safe. Even that you maybe say, okay, it's the possibility to hit something here is higher. I would better stay a little away and say, let pass 2 cargo ships and I take the 3rd cargo ship, but I survive any submarine hunter. But this is a risk success calculation. Americans, they have more subs, they produce much more subs, and so they can maybe accept losses. As a Japanese player, the Japanese have very good torpedoes, but the submarines are not great in numbers, and they also get only at the end, as in mid of 44, we get first submarine radar. So the first 3 years, your submarines don't get any technology boost or upgrade. Means at the beginning they're okay, but later Uh, I will not waste them. I don't want to waste them at the beginning. I must hold, or they will not win the war for you. But like you saw before, here and there we can sink a merchant ship, and if we are lucky, like with the Hermes, we can even really make some damage. Okie dokie. So normally I carry all the stuff from this port, from Sapporo. I also send out some. Here I think no. This is this guy. This is this guy. Ah, they just all come back. Yeah, it's this guy. This guy I think just come from Sapporo. He carry everything here. I also use this port because this port is big enough to unload stuff, and here this port is still under construction. If it's later as 7, 8 or 9, then I normally can focus everything in this port because it makes it more easy. Here I have mines, here I have no mines. You can always, of course, like an American, they can maybe put everywhere mines, they can have everywhere more equipment because they have much more stuff. If I want to protect every damn port, then I have no backup more. Then everything is under use, and everything what is under use consumes resources and can break down. So I keep my operation force on the limit, on the lower limit. I transport everything what is possible if it makes sense, but with a low number of really running ships. So from Korea, this is Seoul, but this is the old also name for Seoul, Keijo. And of course Port Arthur, or today Dalian. It's the main Korean Manchukuo ports or Asian ports. Here's a lot of oil. At the beginning, I think nearly 1 million resources. There is also a lot of fuel here. So I carry a lot of resources out first. I think soon I can stop the operation. In Seoul, I already stopped more or less the operation. Before it was continuously, but last turn I say more or less, okay, this is the last one, because there's not more much left. 11,000, 13,000. This cargo ships load up, and then there's nothing left. And then I can wait 1 month, and in 1 month maybe I can check again, okay, here's 100,000 again or 200,000 again. Then I start again to ship my resources. Because resources are normally bring them to the Japan or ship them to Japan and everything is fine. What you have in Japan, it's safe. It's nearly impossible. I mean, you will not lose anything what is already arrived in Japan. And resources are really... Resources and oil, you need to ship them to Japan as soon as possible, as many as possible, to keep the industry running non-stop on full power. So Port Arthur is a very, very big harbor, thanks to the Russians. Thank you. But I think also the Japanese extend this stuff. And yeah, you have here Qingdao, the old German colony, and the Qingdao beer. Maybe some guy knows this. I don't use this ports at all. I really also normally only Shanghai. Shanghai is the next port I use. So here, Seoul, I only transport resources out to Japan. Port Arthur, I transport also only normally resources out, because the fuel, I will maybe use it, but the reason why I don't transport it normally out is you can better extend your heavy industry in Manchukuo, Korea, and in China, and build and increase this heavy industry. And this heavy industry need later fuel. So if I ship out all this fuel first to Japan, then I later have to ship fuel back to the mainland. Because here on this area, it is normally not possible to produce enough fuel. Here is oil, but no referencing. So if you convert the crude oil to fuel, you will have your limitations. Maybe if you're successful and you can take this western part or northern part of China, I think, wait here. Here you can see there are 91 refinery, and somewhere else here is some oil, and the little one, no, not more. So there's not much. The Russians, they have some stuff, but we don't want to fight with the Russians. So normally I keep the fuel here first before. This is really more or less my emergency stock. If I really have an issue, then I maybe must take this oil or fuel, but also the oil. Maybe the oil I can transport out because it's very hard to convert this here, because I have here 120, but this will be never enough. There's much more oil we get from Manchukuo. So this I can maybe do in the future. I can transport the oil to Japan, because in Japan, in Tokyo especially, we have here 200. This is a powerful force, and I think also Osaka. Yeah, also Osaka. These are my main two oil producing or fuel producing industry centers in Japan. So anyway, so focus Seoul, Port Arthur, then Shanghai, and normally after that it's already Hong Kong. All the rest I completely skip. I don't use any shipping line. If here a little, here I have a Air Force unit, the 5th Army Air Force, I think this is the Army Air Force. Yeah, this is Army Air Force. And no, and then you have still Formosa, today Taiwan, Takao. This is also a port you can use. You can make it bigger if you want, but I normally don't upgrade this much. I don't know if it was a 7 at the beginning, I upgrade to 8. No, I think this is already a starter configuration. Because at the beginning there's a lot of stuff, and Formosa it's more like the start line. All your equipment is in this area located, and then you have to go and you can choose. You go to the Philippines, or you go to Malaysia, or you can go and say, no, I skip this and I go to take Borneo or Palembang, or if I go to Java. I mean, this is up to the player. The player can choose where he wants to use his forces are located in Taiwan, and everything can be successful and everything can fail completely. So, but this is the funny part. There's always a possibility to change something and to surprise the allies. If it's in the long run successful, we will see. Well, everyone have to see. I would only say, if you're a Japanese player, you must take Hong Kong fast and quickly. First, here's a bigger shipyard, big enough to handle any ship. You can only get, only the Yamato battleships you can get here inside, but everything else you can fix here. And also Hong Kong, the port of Hong Kong can rearm your battleships. You saw that I use my battleships for short bombardment and to anything else. A battleship normally need a port 7 to rearm. So in a port 7, I don't have this here. Formosa, Taiwan don't have a port 7. Also there is no port 7. You can rearm some battleships still in a smaller port if you have a lot of tenders, but this is possible but still slow. It's always better to have one big port and send the battleships back and rearm in a big port. But if you want to do this, you must get your port damage down. Normally if you conquer Hong Kong, it can be some damage. And the best way is to bring a lot of supplies with you. After you capture Hong Kong, you have to get rid of the British mines here in this area. You must bring supplies, and you best also bring some engineers, like I have here, to fix damaged stuff. And then you must get Hong Kong ready for service. You don't must normally build here anything. I mean, I don't invest here anything. The 8 port is totally enough. And the airfield is with 4 is normally a 4 airport is enough for twin engine fighter or bombers. So I don't will waste here my resources. Also with a Japanese player, better don't upgrade everything. You better really choose where you want to build, where it makes sense to have an airport, or where you want to extend your port. I really only choose fixed location, like in Canton. I say, oh, I can normally stop this. I mean, normally, because I don't need over 3, maximum 4 is enough. So normally here I will say, okay, I want to have a better airfield, because from here I can operate normally easily up to even, normally the 0 fighters can go up to 11. And if I want to use bombers for this long run, normally I always try to be in range of fighter cover. This means not that I always use fighter cover, but I have the possibility, if I realize, okay, there are enemy fighters nearby, I better send escort fighters with my bombers that they can reach the target. I mean, I can operate from Hong Kong because he has a better airfield already. I mean, now not more, but originally I think this is a 2 or a 3. But it's still, the range is too less. In Canton is good, have a good interlink with Hong Kong, so it's easy to transport the supplies. So normally Canton is an advantage, especially if I want to fight here, because also the army fighters don't have the range like the navy fighters. So, and I don't have everywhere zeros. If I use everywhere zeros, I mean, you have these army fighters, so you must find a use for them. I don't have here some. Where are my army fighters? Yes. This is a typical army fighter of 1942, at least for the first months of 1942. This is a classic Oscar fighter, Key 43 1C. Only to make it roughly, but this is more or less the best the best army fighter you can get for up to May of 42. It is okay, but it lacks the range. You can see normal range is 5, extended range is 6. So the firepower is okay for this kind of, because it's a heavy machine guns, not cannons, only machine guns. So it means everything what have no armor you shoot down very easily, and if it's have armor, okay, you must hit it a little more often. Unluckily, most of them allies fighters have armor, but this is a reason why later in the war normally I better go for Tojos, or later for George. They have 20mm guns, cannons, really cannons. So it means they have the ammunition will explode if it hits a airplane. This is a bullet. It will only penetrate an enemy airplane, but it will not explode. A cannon bullet normally have a trigger, means it hits something and then it will explode, and the shrapnel will damage the airplane. Okay, but normally we won't start about the situation. I think I talked too much. Okay, anyway, so what is now the situation? So this is only training center for my Air Force, and I'm also forced, remember, to keep at least 8,000 fighting power back in Manchukuo, Korea. So here is the border, of Manchukuo. So this area must keep the forces. This is then China. So what I do here in the north of China, I have the. Oh, we're going to start here maybe. This is my Mongolian army. Like I think, like Dojo also explains in his old videos, there are always armies, and every army has some unit attached, and it's always better to keep them together, because this army will give first this logistically and fighting support power with its leadership, inspiration, administration, and all this stuff, but it also have the supplies support. So for HQ it's much easier to call in supplies, and supplies are necessary to maintain the fighting force of the army. So normally every unit is working with this HQ is part of this Mongolian garrison army. Yeah, it's a garrison army. Normally it's not to strike, but if you get the armies together, because I mean, like in Japan, also in China, a lot of stuff is messed up at the beginning. You need 1 or 2 weeks to get it to some better organization. So, and this is my scout unit more or less. They are also Mongolian army. These are all units are part of this HQ, and because they're all still together in the same hex or next hex, they still get some support and administration bonus, so they can fight stronger, better. They move with maximum efficiency and all this stuff, and they don't lack so easy supplies. I don't know. I mean, yeah, here he requires some support because he's not in the same hex now. So because this is my recon regiment, so they scout ahead if there is something big. I don't think, because my air force cannot catch this area, so I don't know if there is something left. So I advance a little in forward, but then I will stop somewhere. Maybe I stop here, then I let them keep up, regroup, then I can go here. If I still find nothing, then I go to the next location, and then again and again. I only don't want one in some surprise situation, because this force is only, they don't really have much. They have cavalry, so horse infantry, and some anti-tank cannon. These are tankletten, like compared to a German Panzer I, more or less. So it's a machine gun tank. It's not really a fighting tank. I mean, he can fight infantry, but nothing more. If the enemy have some anti-tank gun or a heavy machine gun, already will be enough normally to get this unit in trouble. It is more or less a support unit. It is nice to scout. It is nice to hunt defeated enemies. If the enemy unit was defeated, then you can say this, okay, hunt them down. I mean, what cavalry did in 100 years before. Cavalry's main purpose is to hunt the fleeing enemy and to make sure that they cannot regroup. Anyway, and this here is my garrison unit, because I really must keep this, because I have here some. Most of the cities in China have always some garrison request. So 40 units must stay here with fighting power of 40. So this unit 25 plus 26. These two guys will stay here and rest. And the rest is also Mongolian garrison unit. You can see it all belongs. And they're all moving. I give them some order to take this road. They're moving first here. Then I will move up to the position where the force, because you cannot bypass, or you can only, I cannot give the command, let's say this, if I say give this unit the command to walk here, they will walk this way. Because I know here's an army and this unit blocks this street. But I give them the command to walk here. So he tried to avoid this army unit. And this is of course stupid because this is desert. I don't want to walk here. I want always try to walk on the street. If possible on the main street. So I tell them first walk here. Then this needs 2-3 turns. Then I will know, okay, where is this Chinese forces? I maybe can tell them walk in, try to fight them, because my army bombers already crushed this unit, and there you can see there's not much left. Always keep in mind this has a total number of units, so I think there are maybe 2,000-3,000 fighting units, and this army forces alone have already 2,000 infantry guys to fight. Again 2,000 fighting and more, and this is only support, this is only anti-aircraft, and this is the engineers. They are normally, their purpose is more or less to destroy enemy forts. If the enemy have some forts, it's the best you have some engineers, because if you make a delivery attack, normally the engineering unit, if it's successful, it's a calculation, it will always destroy one fort before the battle starts. So if the enemy have a fort 1 and the engineers are successful, then they will blow up the fort, and then you start a battle like the enemy have a fort 0. And this works always. So even if the enemy have a fort 3, you blow up the first fort, then you fight only against the fort 2, and so on. Anyway, so engineers are not only good for repair, but also to blow up stuff. But you must make sure that they are fighting engineers, because they are also only construction engineers, and I'm not sure if construction engineers can do this. So far I know for sure if it's like this symbol, then these are pioneers. They call them engineers, but I think they are pioneers. And I don't know if I find now fast somewhere else someone. These are all pioneers. Oh, I think in the Malila I have. And these are really construction units. First of all, the most important is you can see they have a assault strength of 0. So they really only construction guys. You can also see that they looks like they are only building something. And these guys, they have this pioneer symbol of fighting force, and you can see they have a real assault strength. So the plan is more or less this HQ unit and all attached, they will go down, try to capture this city, village, whatever, and then we try our luck to cross the river and take Lanzhou. If we do this, we cut all this back area from the rest of central China, and here is oil and some resources. And but the problem is I don't think that they really produce much. Maybe they produce some supplies, but anyway, if I block this and I cut it in two, means whatever is here, it is cut, and it will not support his rest of his army. And he has no railway, so it will be not easy for him to counter my attack. The only problem that I have is he will know that I will capture this village, because it's too complicated to walk around only to be to create a surprise attack. I think it's better to come here close and then to rush in and have success. In worst case, we don't have a success, and then we stay here and then we block the street. Then we still block the street, but we cannot take the city. But this will be maybe for me the worst case scenario. I still hope that he must keep the main battle line here in the source, that I can sneak here in. Still, it will need time because this is a small road. And there's some mountains here and some rivers. Cross this river, Here, 1, 2, 3 rivers. This will need time. Anyway, but the other more powerful striking unit will take the main road. Still here, back to Inner Mongolia, Hami, and try this unit and then catch up all this. Conquer all the cities there in the Inner Mongolia and then turn down, take these 2 cities, regroup with my other Mongolia army so that at the end I can get all my Mongolia army back here together. This unit is more or less a blocking force, takes the city, blocks the street, and the rest, more powerful punching unit normally have the goal, maybe I go with 1 unit this way, but normally go all here, take everything. I still like to move normally on Main Street, not on this narrow roads. Take these 2 cities, they are important. This city is a little out of touch. I don't know if there's any enemy. So maybe I can send some horse cavalry there, because normally I have some horse guys also. Here, these are the horses. I mean, we all know this is NATO. They don't need much supplies, they are fast, they are cheap, even if they run in some enemies, maybe they can escape and then I must send more units, we will see. Okay, this is the Mongolia Force and there's not much more. I sent all my Mongolian troops to conquer these Inner Mongolia areas and hope for it. Normally, to fight against AI, it was always successful. The PC more or less never really tried to defend this area. It is normally important for the Chinese because there's light industry, there's oil, there's refineries, at least at some cities, but they have also resources. This city at least is very important. The rest is nothing. So normally this city, here's only resources in this city. This is Inner Mongolia, more or less. So here comes the North Chinese area. This is a top army command. You can see this is a 4-star general, and I don't really know if they are separate. They really. Oh yeah, this is 3-star. This is a corps command, and this is an army command more or less. So this is 4-star, and above this you have the 5-star. How do you call this? I don't know. The Japanese have some other name for this, I think. I don't know more. Central Army? Or was it in Hong Kong? Eastern Army? I thought we have some overall command, but maybe I was wrong. This is Western Army Group. Anyway, there is some 5-star guy somewhere, but I don't know where. Maybe it's in... yeah, here. Then it's a flag. Yeah. This super guy, the big boss have always a flag. Normally it's a 5-star guy here there with a flag. And then you can see this radius of 9. This is a guy command all Chinese armies in China for the Japanese. And he stay in Nanking or Nanjing. Okay, so here comes the Chinese, North Chinese army. Their purpose is more or less take Yunnan. The red Chinese are normally here. So I try to I try to bypass these armies because they are in the mountains. Really. I will never send any units in a hex without a road if it's not necessary. But keep in mind what you can see here on the map and what is really the network is not always matching. You always must touch the air key to see where is roads. And then you can see, especially in this area, it looks like there's no roads, but you can still see this. There are roads. The units can move there faster. But you can see here, this is them mountains. This is them desert. There is nothing. So, this army commander will conquer Yan'an, and then normally, because these guys will starve out, then I go and meet in Xi'an with his units. This is the 6th army, Stalingrad, and the 1st army. 2 armies with all their attached stuff. You can see if this is the 1st army. So all what I can free up and bring you forward is all 1st army, and this is 6th army stuff, which was somehow faster, and this is all 6th army stuff. I really keep it very strict. 1 HQ in everything what is possible, what is attached to this HQ, stay together, and they're fighting together in one unit. Because this is the best punching power you can get out of your units. This sounds easy, but the problem is the original setups you start the game, a lot is not together. There are armies units from one HQ with the other HQ, some in North China, some in center of China. Don't ask me why. There's 2 possibilities. You can reattach them, but this costs you political points, or you transfer the units walking by rail and try to bring it back together. This needs time. So I normally choose to transport the unit before I reattach it, because it's really too expensive to reattach a unit so easy. You can see this is far too expensive. Why? I mean, before I do this, normally I will maybe let them fight with the other HQ. Then you don't get this the bonus from the HQ. You still get the bonus of supply, because this supply bonus is for all units inside the hex. Doesn't matter who is attached or not attached. But this administration points will only work with attached correct units. So now we have this. So it means I drive 2 armies directly on Xi'an, 1 army group more or less Yan'an and then Xi'an. The Mongolian I split in 2 groups. 1 go here, 1 takes the backland, and then come south to create here, or to regroup, and then I drive them south in the mountains to capture this point. 2 army, and at the same time, I mean, I think the Mongolian needs much more time, but this is more or less. The Mongolian will link up at the end here. These 3 army groups will go here, and normally I think I'm faster with this. So these 3 army groups normally have the purpose: take the city and then turn south. Get rid of this pocket, because there are 200,000 Chinese guys. I hate to have something in my back. So before I have maybe the other option that I say I take Xi'an and then I try to take the mountain as soon as possible to enter the heartland of China, at least the Sichuan area. So I normally better go and fight first this 200,000 guys, and after I clean up, then I can go north. So I'm not sure if these units are already finished at 200,000 before the Mongolians are back. I still think that the Mongolians need much more time, because I mean, you can see that is a very, maybe I don't must fight here or I only walk here, but I mean the distance is so short and the other one is so far away. So we will see how this finds out. So, but this is the main purpose: take Xi'an, cut off this 200,000 and starve them to death, or normally fight them down. I'm not so sure if I'm fast enough to catch these 2 units. I mean, I have the advantage, like you can see here. I always move. I always send my units out in move order. Means they can walk faster. I think double speeds in combat. I think move is nearly double distance than move is double the distance you can move per day in combat, roughly. I'm not sure. Maybe combat is only a third of, maybe, but it's much faster. So I have the advantage. My Air Force pin down the enemy, so he must move in combat or he will suffer much higher losses. And if he suffer more higher losses, he also break down in morale and increased fatigue. And his forces cannot fight so well, so he must move in combat. But he's much slower. I rush inside a hex, then it switch to combat, fight him, he gets kicked out, and I change back to move order and move forward. And I catch him before he can move out of the next hex. Normally, most of the time. Sometimes he is faster than me, but most of the time it's possible for me. Kick him out of this hex, like last time we had here this battle. He just kicked out of here. I only waited this unit's link up, so I give this guys now a rest day. I also often do this after one battle. I give them more or less 2 days, because one turn is double day, a rest day, so that their fatigue come down, or disruption. The experience and the morale can go up, but normally the morale can go up. The experience is more from fighting, but also that the disabled units can come back online, that my fighting power is still near the maximum. But this works here very nice and fine, because I dominate the sky, my guys have more experience, better equipment, maybe the Chinese are more, but not really. So maybe, I mean, he have more guys, but not totally. He don't outclass me like the Germany and Russia, that the Russians have 3 times the guys, 4 times the guys, 5 times the guys. No, here it's maybe double Chinese to the Japanese. I mean, at least if I avoid his 200,000 guys. If his 200,000 guys come down to this small army with only 12,000 guys, then we will be in trouble. But first I will see it, because I have everywhere recon and scouts. I will know where he's moving, and then I can still, so long I'm on the main road, I can quickly say, oh, he'll come down south, I will go west or go east. I avoid this battle. If I know he come with force, I can avoid it. Yeah, okay. So this is the plan. Move here up, come down, move here directly, catch the city, and then turn south. At the same time, I have here my super strong force. You can see 60,000 fighting units, nearly 100,000 support units, means 4,000 assault power. You can see here a very small dot. I choose some units to walk east, and I use this army to walk west, because I can see here, some small dot, that he maybe walk with 35,000 units down the street. Maybe at the same time, normally I can see here that he's not moving. Here are nearly 100,000 but not moving. I don't know what he try. Maybe he won't block this street, because in that way he blocks this street and he blocks this street and he block here, so it's nearly, maybe here still supplies can come in, but you can also see that these forces lack supply. You can see I have 4,000 supplies, but I require 12,000 supplies. So I must do something. And what I will do is more or less, I take some part of this units and I take this army. This army is also 800 assault strength power. These are more or less 1 full division and 2 regiments. They meet here. If I'm lucky, I will see. I can catch this unit. Then I fight this unit, send it back, and destroy his forces and shatter them. Low morale and all this stuff. Then I can move back to Nanyang, because then the street is open and I get some supplies from here. And then I will more normally move here south with my forces. And then I try to break this unit. Because this unit normally must also be low on supplies. Then I break this unit. And then I must see, I think I must kick him. Then he will maybe run this direction, or he runs this direction. Then I am lucky because I can still use the main street to catch up and hit him a second time. I always try to hit a unit at least twice here, like before. I kick them out of the city, then I still try to catch them to hit them again. The first time you kick out a unit, it loses maybe a third of its power. And the second time it uses already 60-70% of its power. So these units are all, they lost most of their equipment. They have low morale. These units are only numbers, but there is nothing behind. The punching power must be very low now. So, but the overall strategy will be more or less try to catch this smaller unit, destroy this, then destroy this bigger unit, because it's still a pain. It's a risky stuff to have this in behind my lines, and I need supplies. I need this road open. I need to run supplies from Shanghai here north, because these are too many guys. These are far too many guys to run low on supply. Because now it's more or less a gambling. Who starts first? This 200,000 Chinese or my 100,000 Japanese? So I need this road open. This will need maybe 1-2 weeks more, and then we will know who was successful. At the same time, I think I lost the information. But here 60,000 and this 30,000, this 30,000 moving this direction. These guys are only waiting. I don't know, look similar to this guys. Maybe he's not sure what he will do. And I think here, last time I had here also some scouting reports, roughly 100,000 guys are also here. So I must keep an eye on if we maybe if Dojo will change to a tough guy and say Chinese strike first, and then he try to go for this city. Luckily, I have here still 400 sword strength, but you can see this 220 I must keep, so I have double what I must have here. But 400 is not too much, but here's a fort of 4, and the Chinese normally don't have good engineers or even no engineers, so he can normally not break this. He must fight them down. This will be bloody stuff. So I still think that this city cannot fall so easy. Here in Wushang, it's a little more critical. I have here really the lowest possible number, 206. I took more or less all fighting power out of Wuchang to drive it north. This is this unit more or less. This is nearly 2,000 assault strength again. I drive this force north to get a combination. I strike here, I walk back, I walk south. At the same time I walk this guys here in the city in north. Maybe I'm fast enough to even link up, then I can use this 2,000 plus this, and then I can easily kill this 100,000. Maybe I'm a little late only, and I fight this battle guy, this army, and he will retreat to this hex. Then I have this army ready to strike the second blow. We will see. This is only the theory and the roughly calculation and planning what I want to. At the end, you must always make you adjust your strategy to the reality, turn by turn. So let me check how late it is already. Oh, already 1 hour over. Oh, okay. So let's finish this. This is the northern and the central Chinese part. this is really, this 200,000 are my main goal, plus this 100,000. Kill this 200,000, kill this 100,000, take this city, take Yinan, open the street again. This is the task for the next 1 week, maximum 2 weeks. After this 2 weeks, normally we will think about where we will strike next. Normally, the next is the long way through the mountains, or I think taking this street, Yishang, takes a risky way here, the double river, and coming from the north, cut this street and go this direction. But this is so far away, this we will see. Normally I focus. Don't think too far. I mean, have a roughly strategy, what you want to do next, but focus for what is coming soon and not think about what is far away. Not too much. So 200,000 guys here, 100,000 guys. Send them back to hell. But keep in mind, every unit you destroy after 3 months, I think it was 3 months, will come back automatically to Chongqing. It's here. This is the capital of national China. After 3 months, every unit you destroy come back here with 30% of his maximum equipment level. So after, I mean, means you destroy a core, you destroy this 100,000 plus this 200,000, this 300,000. If we destroy them, we have 3 months before 100,000 guys will show up here again. Keep this in mind. Only the Chinese National Army have this ability. So in the source, because then we are nearly finished with China, this, like I said, this is a minimum. I run this all on minimum power more or less, because I don't expect that Dojo normally try to strike me first. Secondly, I make recon, so I know what units are here. These are his 130,000 guys. And if they start to move, I will see it. And if I see he is coming, then I can still use this force to turn back. Because this is my flexible backup army group. I can use this to strike, but if it's necessary, I will always use it to block his advance. But so far he's only sitting in this city and say he won't keep Changsha. I say keep it, okay. Before I try here my Japanese Stalingrad, because I don't have enough power here, I first finish this, because if I crash this 300,000 Chinese, there's not more much left. He have to block me. Then he must take this units back to hold this city. If I come here this down, he cannot hold this city. It's free up a lot of my punching power. I also threaten him that I take Sichuan. So what he will do? He must reduce his forces here, or he risks to lose Sichuan, the heartland of China, national China. This will be a morale strike. He can normally not survive with Chinese forces. So I play very defensive in this area. Normally I try, like you thought maybe before, to capture this. Also, I don't know how many there are left. 15,000, 25,000, 50,000, 60,000. Let's say also 100,000. And these guys are hard to catch maybe. But let us say here are also 100,000 Chinese forces. And I try to block every road so he cannot get much supply in. Normally he can get still supplies. This road, but this is mountain and this is hard for him. So I block every main road. I always try to block, because then he cannot walk there. And even if it's only a small unit like this unit, they're not really strong, you can see. But they're in a defense position, and they're Japanese. So, and the Chinese are maybe okay if they want hold the ground, but they are really terrible if they want strike. If you are Chinese and you want strike a Japanese, you not even need, 3 to 1 is not enough. You need 5 times, I think, the assault strength to beat the Japanese forces. Roughly. Of course, if the Japanese have no supplies, they will maybe also run away easy. So, but this is normally more or less a strategy in the eastern part, southeast of China. I drive this 13th army with his might of power. This is nearly 1,500, but some units are still lacking behind. Normally they're 2,000. I kick out this army. This unit is now in the mountains. I try to catch them and destroy this 10,000 guys. Maybe these guys try to link up. Maybe I will be happy if he link up, because then I can keep them out. But normally this army walk here down, collect some armies on the way, because there are still some armies waiting. They're too weak to fight these units, but they're strong enough to block something. But this is normally the unit to kill the Chinese. I drive them down, kill what I can find on the way, but the main purpose is normally here. Take Canteen. And if after I took this city, I can walk up the street, take this small stuff, and then I must choose. I have still this army unit. Normally this army unit also won't walk this way. If it's here with choose, I can go here. If there's less, I can go. If not, I will drive this unit to the east and come from the east down and try to, even this will be very lucky, but if I really can get this way up and take this small village, because it's a crossroad and he's not coming south to kill me, this will be a little risky. But if I can walk this way, then I trap this unit. And the problem is that this unit is really not so strong. It's only 800. This is a little hard. 10,000 or 12, 13,000 Japanese, but I can defeat this unit, but I cannot defeat these guys. If they come south, then I get trouble. So this will be a little risky. But normally they are here to let Dojo think about his position. This unit is normally really the striking force, and this unit is too strong, even for this 100,000 guys, to normally battle these guys. They are strong enough to hold the city, but if I can get this unit here up, take the city, walk here up, and link this unit and this unit together, then he must choose. He can choose to defend this city or Changsha, but he cannot split his forces. If he bring 50% of his units to this city, it's not enough. This will crash. And it's in the same time, because it sounds like, okay, then he bring more units here, but keep in mind that we have this big pocket battle. At the same time, I also have some, not so crazy big forces, but 200 here, 150 here, and I can bring a little of this guys. So maybe I can make a unit of 500-600 units. With these units, I try to clean up Wushu, and then I can take this narrow way, and then I can be here. And this opens the opportunity to strike north or west. And then he also must choose which of these two cities he defend, or he try to defend both. And the main purpose is more or less to bind Chinese forces in this area, so we cannot send everything to this city. Or if we do this, if we say he won't hold this line, he won't hold this core cities, then these units are maybe strong enough to take one of these two cities. I only need one of them. I like more to have this city, because if I take this city, Nanning is easy to take normally, because then I can say, okay, I take also Nanning. And if I have Nanning, then I have a main street ready from Indochina, then my supply situation is more easy to maintenance, because this narrow ways are, you cannot bring too much units this way or you run on low on supply. So okay, I think this is not really enough, but you understand, a smaller force drives here, threatens these two cities, at the same time a bigger force come here, clean up, stay here, threaten this city, or I will bring it to this location, because then I have the opportunity to really threat both cities at the same time. And then you must think, and at the same time I will see how this big pocket battle will end. If he can escape, he has still the chance, I think, if he really gets crazy and say, okay, I take my 200,000 guys and I take this damn street and I try to escape. I don't know. This will be hard. Then I still have the opportunity to say, okay, I crush this unit and then I rush this army north on the main street. Because the main street is still much faster than this way. Even if he starts 1 or 2 turns faster or earlier, he still walk in combat mode. I can walk in move mode, and I have the main street and he have only a narrow mountain pass. We will see. Okay, this is the Chinese tactical strategic situation of January 8th of January 1942. And this is the end of this episode. Thank you all. Take care. See you all again. Bye bye. And stop.